Your social worker. He is our social worker. He is the social worker. His name is Gary Tierenfeld, and he's back with us. Happy Sunday to you, my friend.
Oh, my goodness. What a Sunday. I have 100 guests coming for brunch today.
100?
100.
Holy mackerel.
It's an engagement party for our 30-year-old son.
Oh, how wonderful.
That's excellent.
Congratulations.
Thanks, but oh my goodness, you think you're stressed?
Well, listen, let's have our conversation here so that we can get you back to that party.
Exactly.
Because you've got a lot of work to do this Sunday, my friend.
Yes.
And it's interesting. We're talking about, again, relationships between parents and their kids. And the topic today is planning ahead to lessen financial reliance on children later in retirement. This is a very interesting area, Gary.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, it all stems from a TD Canada Trust poll that they did a while ago. And, what they discovered, kill surprise, that people of my generation, I'm in my mid to late 50s, we're worried about our aging parents, and we're worried about having enough finances in our retirement such that we don't have to be dependent upon our own children.
Mm-hmm.
And so, with that, we're encouraging parents, my generation, I think your generation, to have some good conversations with your own parents and with your own children so that, we have the financial acumen to save, that we put plans in place for retirement savings, without which I'm going to be looking to my 30-year-old son to keep me in a lifestyle to which I've grown accustomed.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
I don't think he wants that, and we don't want that for our kids.
Yeah, and it's always, money is always a touchy thing in families and a touchy topic to even get into, right?
Well, it is, and you know what? We're even in this wedding planning stage, so you got to know that we're going to be entering into all sorts of touchy financial subjects in terms of who pays how much for what.
Right.
So the issue isn't to shy away from these things, though, because we really do have to address it. If you're addressing it, you're the parent in the middle. You're the sandwich generation like me. If you want to address it with your aging parents, we certainly encourage you to do so. And you can start just by saying, look, I don't know if you guys know where we are at financially, and so here's where we're at. We don't know what kind of planning you guys have in place, and if there may ever be a need or expectation upon us financially for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we encourage people to take the risk and be somewhat transparent.
Couldn't families avoid a lot of emotional distress and misunderstanding by simply being willing to have that conversation and open that up?
Absolutely. Otherwise, these things come and they bite us on the bottom, right? They take us by surprise, and we're not planned. We haven't planned for these things. And I do see parents of my generation who are exactly in that position where they are financially now hamstrung caring for aging parents.
Yeah.
We can anticipate that, we're going to have to take them hither and yon. They're going to need extra help. But sometimes what we don't anticipate is all those doctor's appointments and how it cuts into our earning time, because it's time away from work for us as well. So there's a lot to be anticipated with that.
Back to the money, because money is an issue in so many relationships. We talk about this, whether it's your parents, they don't want you to know certain things, or in your own marital relationship. How did we get to this point? Why is it such a big, why is it the pink elephant in the room?
Well, money, sex, and politics, right? Those are the things that we want to avoid if we seek to limit the opportunity for conflict. But within one's own family, it's actually good to have these conversations.
You would think.
So, pardon me?
You would think so, yeah.
Well, absolutely. So in the raising of our son, when he was a young child, he didn't know how much we earned and what our holdings were. But as he got to be an adult, we were increasingly transparent with him so that he would know where we're at. And it gave us legitimacy in talking with him about his financial planning starting as a young adult.
Now, and Gary, Did it make you, as a person, as a father, feel uncomfortable to have that conversation with your son?
Admittedly, it felt awkward.
Okay.
And here I am. I'm a dad. I'm a social worker.
Yeah.
So the issue isn't necessarily how we feel, because quite frankly, our feelings can betray us. Between our feelings and our behavior, we have to insert thinking. And so when you think about these things versus feel them, when you think about them, it becomes a good idea. And that spurs the appropriate behavior. So do speak with your aging parents. Do speak with your own children. You know, we had talked, I think, in the past about those boomerang children. They come back and they live in the basement, never to be seen again. You know,
Yes.
These are conversations we have to have. If you think you're going to continue to be dependent on me, your parents, forever, you got another thing coming. And so we're encouraging people to think about financial planning, and that's what the whole TD Canada Trust thing was about. They do want to encourage those dialogues.
I think it's really, I think it's really critical that we start talking about money with our kids. I don't want to say from day one, but as soon as they've got that first Fisher Price plastic cash register that they play with, or they play grocery store at home with you, and that kind of thing, there's opportunities there to start having conversations about money, and get, we've got to. I think, Gary, we've got to get past the notion that for kids, coins are just pieces of metal, and these funny square rectangular pieces of plastic, that they're just that. I mean, honestly, kids don't know the value of a buck.
Let your children at any young age start a bank account. If you give them allowance, help them to appreciate that a portion of that allowance has to go towards savings for something way further down the line. We had the discussion last week or the week before about when should a child get a cell phone. And my response was when they can afford to pay for it themselves. So we want to push
that is a great
responsibility down upon our children so that they gain the skills necessary for adult financial
Okay, but let me be the devil's advocate. But they're going to have the rest of their lives to have that responsibility foisted upon their shoulders.
So as they gain that, particularly in adolescence with these cell phones and things, as they learn that they have to go to work, they have to get a part-time job, this is what gives them practice at the skills that are going to carry them into adulthood.
Good point.
When we shelter our kids from that, we actually make them inept.
You're right about that. It's not helping them gain any independence. I had this happen with my son recently with his cell phone. Now I wasn't. He and I were not at loggerheads about anything in particular, but there was at one point in the conversation, I was with him at a cell phone place. He had asked me to come along with him because he was on my plan. Now he was older. It was getting him off of my plan. And there was a discussion at the booth about what was the better deal. And at one point it looked as though he might save a couple of dollars if he stayed on my plan. And I just said to him flat out, I said, you earn a living now. It's time for you to go and get off my plan.
Yeah, I remember when I was going to university. I had my dad's credit card for gas.
Yeah.
I finished university. He looks at me, and my graduation present was him asking for the credit card back.
Well, you used your graduation present for the entire university career, you lucky man.
So in the moment you get angry, but then you grow up a little and you say, you know what, that bred responsibility, and that's carried me into adulthood.
Yeah.
He did me a favor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the point. And it's funny. I felt a point of pride cutting that little bit of umbilical with him yesterday. It's a small thing. Getting him off my cell phone plan. But I thought, this is good. You're going to learn. You're going to receive an invoice in your email box or in the mail every month that you have to be responsible for paying. And this is the beginning. And the next thing will be cars, and the next thing will be apartments, and the next thing will be hydro bills, and so on and so forth. And I'm happy. I remember thinking yesterday, I feel delighted to see you getting going here.
Yeah. So TD Canada Trust, they realize that not only is that a milestone for the teenager, young adult, but for you and me in our middle ages, it's also a milestone that we are planful about our retirement, So we have the conversations with our children, and we have the conversations with our own parents to make sure that they have the financial resources and plans in place to carry them through.
All right, we got to run. Gary, as always, a treat to chat with you and always learn something. Thank you so much. It's yoursocialworker.com, correct?
Yes, it is, and I'm going to go back to feeding 100 people.
Have a great time, Gary.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All the best. Bye-bye.
There's Gary Dierenfeld, and we've got a lot more to get to here on Sunday Brunch on AM 900 CHML.